for those who are interested in piloting and joining the network, to have another meeting. And even if on the website is already available all the modules to fill up to join it, but I think they need a proper explanation on the activities, how to keep on, and something that we need to discuss. But I give the word to Elena because she was preparing this moment. Thank you very much, and see you next time. I will continue my duty. Okay, Elena, it's your turn. Elena?
Okay, can we start, or shall we wait 5 minutes for the people to join? I see that we are 40 participants. I think that we can wait a bit longer for the other to join. 5 minutes more.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, while the people are joining, we can start, I think. Welcome, everybody. This is the final meeting for this first training course online about Pearl project. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for being here. This final meeting has been thought to introduce you the activities and the evaluation of the activities that we have done during the first experimental phase, in order for you to understand which will be the main organization of the second experimental phase. So after that, we can then start, we can organize other meetings with the national representative or other internal meeting with us if your country is not part of this project, so that we can introduce you further and in your own language the activities and the structure of the experimentation. Of these activities of Pearl that we want to implement in bigger number, because when we started this first and small experimental phase, we noticed very interesting results, and we want to enlarge them also in the rest of Europe and your countries. So I start sharing the screen, and then who will be to present the second part? Aysel, it will be you or Ezra?
Aysel, because I have no connection, internet connection. I am just connected from the cell phone.
Okay.
Aysel.
So I'm giving also the I cannot.
I see a share screen. Should I try?
Okay. Okay. If you have the permission, I can start.
Okay.
I will just quickly introduce the activities, if it's okay for you.
Sure.
Okay. So, 1 second. Now let's start. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is just a quick introduction, as I said, about the activities. What the experimental phase? What was the aim of our experimental phase? To start to validate the activities that we developed, and the idea of developing this empathic and emotional proximal learning educational environment. And to do that, we wanted to use some group activities. So we divided the group in 3 main age groups, that is from 1 to 2 years for Italy and Lithuania, and from 3 to 4 years, and to 5 to 6 years. In these 3 experimental groups, we have tried 3 activities that were challenging for these children, and because we wanted them to face some difficulties and finding the strength of the group in facing these difficult activities, so that we can more easily see how the educational emotion can develop and can express. So the first activity for the 1-2 years old were with the wooden blocks. So as you see from the picture, these are the classical blocks that we can use in all the kindergarten. The main idea is to develop the social skill, cooperation, and express emotion through these group activities in which the children in small groups have to replicate what a group of teachers is doing. So the teachers are creating one of these tower of wooden blocks, and the children have to replicate this activity. We wanted to put our focus and our attention on the ability to imitate the adults' behavior, and if they see this cooperative and collaborative behavior, they will be able to replicate it while in the group. The activity for the 3-4 years old was more focused on playing with words and identifying the components of the sentences. So how the words are used in the sentence to make them having a sense or not. So in the picture, you can see 2 elements. One is the table, an example of the table that has been used with the robots. Because one group of this experimental activity has used the dog robot. As we said, the base is the use of robotics to develop this empathetic and emotional learning environment in the group. And the other one is one of the structure that we use to create and to make these children think about the words and how to use them. With this activity, we want to observe how the communication and inclusion are helped and enhanced by working in group and creating this empathic environment. For the 5-6 years old, we played with the numbers, doing calculation and addition. The aim of the activity is to find all the numbers that compose another number. So for example, 3 is 1 plus 2. And also in this case, you see an example of the cards that we have used and an example of the table of the board that is used with the robot. These are, in this case, is more complicated. So the part for the 5-6 years old is focused more on a bit more on the coding and on the procedure to program the robot in the case of the robot. Yes, this was just a very quick introduction about the activities. You will receive more information and the description of the deeper description of the activities in all their steps. You will find them in the website, and you will receive them once you will join the experimentation, the experimental phase of the project. If you have any question. Okay, since no, so
Okay. Elena,
you can go.
do I open the presentation and then share screen, or do I first share the screen and then open the presentation?
You can open the presentation and then select which part of the screen you want to share.
Okay, let's try. Okay, I think it's okay. Let's see.
Perfect.
Okay, but I think I should make it full screen. Okay, I think that's
Perfect.
Can you see?
Perfect. Yes, perfect.
All right. Well, today's topic is assessment methodology. Normally, Professor Esra Ömeroğlu was supposed to present it, but she had a problem
Sorry.
with internet. I had a
Internet
problem with
connection.
internet. I managed to solve it, so it's okay. We can go ahead and do it together. You can feel me in, Miss Ezra. Or if
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so the outline for this presentation is we will start with introducing a little bit about the scientific methodology we planned for the evaluation of this pilot study, and then the pilot study implementation strategies that we have used. For the assessment methodology, we took a couple of steps, starting with structuring the aim of the model. We started, for example, reviewing the literature and especially trying to figure out what are the core principles of constructivist model of education. And then we started creating a full list of principles. And then we specified some categories that we need to measure. And based on those, we created a pool of items that may become our observation form. And then we received some comments, feedbacks from the participating partners. And then we checked for the validity and created the final per child observation forms that are used in the pilot strategy. And we will use in the this second implementation that you will take part, hopefully. So this is coming to my screen. I will move this second part off. Okay. So the structuring aim of the model, as we mentioned several times, the PER models aims to develop a European level replicable model that's based on constructivist and Montessori's theories of education, promoting children's emotional empathic skills and also their proximal development. Let's see, how do I move on? Oh, okay. For that reason, we started, as I said, reviewing the literature for preparing the pool of items that will be created for the observation form. And before the development of the per observation form, a detailed review of literature was carried out. So as I said, and we mentioned before, the model bases on the theoretical context of Piaget's constructivist learning, Vygotsky's idea of zone of proximal development, Montessori's use of educational materials, and also her idea of children using their full 5 senses in education, and the idea of children's constructing knowledge from the constructivist approach.
May I interrupt a little bit? I said, can I say something about it? This this is the 4 model is very, very important for us because we use the robots for showing how to these theories, the base of the theories is going on by using the robots. This is important for us. We will not use the robots for the some how I can say some other skills. For this reason, the Montessori is very important. Also, the constructivism is very important. As you know, in the most of the early childhood program is based on the constructivism model, and also Piaget, and also the Vygotsky proximal learning environment is very important. This is the proximal learning environment gives children at the same time a rich environment, a rich educational environment. Thank you very much. I said.
Okay. So as for the reflection of Piaget's theory, it's, as you know, Piaget's theory is based on the idea that children construct knowledge when they are interacting with the environment. So, and when they are interacting with the environment, they construct knowledge in their minds. So this is the core part that we took from Piaget's idea. And Vygotsky, the core idea of Vygotsky is children are not just interacting with the environment, but children actually construct knowledge when they are interacting with other people. Group activities are based on this idea because Vygotsky proposes a concept that's called zone of proximal development, which means that a child's real potential, developmental potential is in between something what he can do alone and also what he can do with the help of other people, maybe a teacher or a more skilled peer. So group interaction with the aid of robots will meet this idea of both Piaget and Vygotsky's constructivist view of knowledge. And then Montessori, as you all know, indicates that children are able to manage their own learning processes if they are given freedom and if they are given a right educational environment. So this is also important because in traditional early childhood settings, children are in a very teacher-centered environment. Teacher defines what kind of activities children will do and how much time that they will spend on those. On the other hand, Montessori argues that each child has its own learning speed. So the child can take as long as he or she wants on a test. And she also emphasizes the uses of 5 senses during the learning process. So these are the core principles of Montessori's that we have took from for this project while we were developing this model, and while we were also developing the child observation forms to assess the outcomes. So when we think about the child observation form, as I said, we first started by making a list of principles for the constructivist learning and also for Montessori's education model. And then of that, we created some categories. And then we planned to, as we have 3 types of age groups, we planned to create different observation forms for each age group. So we had observation forms for 1 to 2 years, 3 to 4 years, and also 5 to 6 years, each separate, to assess their emotional empathic skills and proximal development while participating in this project. And while we were trying to create the observation forms, while we were thinking about the item pool for the form, we all tried to find items for these categories, which are communication, group communication, cooperation, expression of emotions, self-expression, helping with each other, coping with difficulties, creating strategy while doing the task, in the activity, following instructions, achieving a goal, and understanding managing positive and negative emotions that arise during those activities within the interaction of the group. So for that, we created a pool of items for experts within the Gazi University team. And the items, as I said, were for 1 to 2 years, 3 to 4 years, and 5 to 6 years old age groups separately. And then we drafted a form of items. Then we presented those forms to the partnering countries and the expert in those partners, and received feedback from them, especially on adding items on well-being, motivation, expression of emotions, and pro-social behaviors. So we revised the first draft of the observation form, including items for those categories that they also provided feedback on. And then after that, we created the form, finalized the form. So, and we checked the validity, content and construct validity through, again, literature review and expert opinion on the international level. So there are 10 forms created as a result of this process. For the 1 to 2 years old age group, we have a form for a single child with nature, as Elena just mentioned the activities, because one of the activity was with nature, with a single child, and one activity was a group of child with the nature, based on imitating the teacher's activities. So we had a separate form for each group within this age group. And then for the age group of 3, 4, and 5, 6 years old, we had 4 forms for each experimental group, which is a child observation form for single child within this age with educational robotics, observation form for a single child without educational robotics. There are activities for those, each groups, experimental groups. And then we had form for a group of children without robots and form for a group of children with educational robotics. Similarly, for the 5 and 6 years age group, we had similar to the 3 years old, but the items were different because the activities are different and the age level, developmental level of the children different. So we have, again, a single child with educational robotics, single child without educational robotics, a group of children with educational robotics, and group of children without educational robotics. So as a total, we created and finalized 10 forms for each experimental group. Just a little bit information about the forms and items itself. There are different numbers of items for each form because, as I said, we based them both on the child's age level, the type of activities, whether it is single or group, etc. And so there are different number of items in each form, and the items are some of the items are indicating desirable type of behaviors, such as recognizing others' peers' feelings, or when facing a challenge, instead of getting angry, trying to solve the problem types. And there were some negative, undesirable items indicating those kind of behaviors, such as when facing a challenge, trying to quit, or crying out, or displaying a destructive behavior within the group, etc. So there are some positive behavior, negative type of behaviors indicators in the items. And the items were rated Likert type, rated from 0 to 10. 0 means, in this case, a behavior is absent or it is not relevant. A case like that has never happened in that situation. From 1 to 10, if a behavior is observed, from 1 to 10, a teacher or the observer will rate the behavior. An example here is the child invites his or her teacher to join the game. This is rated 0 if the child didn't invite the teacher for the game, but it is rated in 1 to 10 depending on how often or how strongly the child displayed this behavior. This is the observation forms introduction to the observer, displaying the purpose and giving a brief information about how the observation is going to be done, and each child's age as month, each child's the country, because we are implementing these activities in 4 different countries as now for the pilot thing at least. And these are the examples of the form, just a brief version. There are more items, a little more items for each, but so this is an example of single child at age 1 to 2 with nature. In this form, there are 9 items, not 10 items actually. And example items are he or she asks the teacher help when having difficulty during the activity, or this is a desirable behavior, type of behavior, or he or she gets angry when failed. This is an undesirable behavior, and it's been rated from 0 to 10, as you see. And this is another example. This one is for a form for group of children age 1 to 2. There are 27 items, and sample items are like he or she shares the toys during the activities, which is a desirable behavior, and he or she communicates positively with the children in the group, again a desirable type of behavior that we would like to see. For the age group of 3 to 4, for the children, single child without educational robotics, there are 25 items. And example items are he or she doesn't lose interest during the activity, or he or she has difficulties following teacher's directions. Similarly, for the single child with educational robotics, there are 30 at age 3 to 4. There are 30 items. Examples are he or she focuses on the materials used in the activity, and he or she enjoys using the materials in the activity. For the age, again, 3 to 4, oops, sorry, I should go back, I guess, okay. For the group of children without educational robotics, there are 45 items. As you see, when the age is growing up, the items number are also growing up. There are 45 items. Example item is like he or she having difficulty communicating with the children in the group during the activity, or he or she communicates positively with the children in the group activities. Similarly, for the same age group, for groups with educational robotics, again, there are 45 items. Example items are he or she communicates positively with the children in the group activity, or he or she creates new games besides the activities, and creates new games with the material used in the activity. So because the 5 and 6-year-old items are more like similar to 3 and 5, we didn't include those here. So for that was creating the observation form, and then how did we manage the piloting phase? I would like to give it just a little brief information about that. For the piloting, we administered the activities for the 1 to 6-year-old age groups. As Elena mentioned, that was within that age group, we had 3 experimental groups: 1 to 3 years old, 3 to 4 years old, and 5 to 6 years old. And we had 1 to 2-year-old groups, experimental groups in Italy and Lithuania, because in Turkey and in Spain, we didn't have that age group. And then for the age group of 3 to 6, means 3, 4, and 5, 6 age group, where experimental groups were defined in Turkey, Spain, Italy, and Lithuania for all partners countries. The first piloting phase took place between November 2020 and February 2021. And for this experimental phase, from each partnering countries, schools were selected and teachers are trained online locally. And also actually before the online training, there was a training in Italy face-to-face for the whole teachers group. The first administration, the first phase had 2 administration, means that for each experimental group of children, we implemented the activities twice. In the first one, well, should I repeat these? These are already the age group and experimental group we already mentioned. So I will maybe move on. So we implemented the activities twice, and each time the activities were, while the activities were implemented, they were video recorded. And during the activities, each child, especially in the group, experimental groups, while children working in 5 child groups, each child were given a number that can be seen through the video recording, so that because the observers are outside experts, so the video recordings were gathered by the experts in each countries, partnering countries, and then experts observed these video recordings and fill out the observation forms that I mentioned, the child observation forms, for each child separately, based on the number of the child written. Some of them are made a crown of the number, some of them made a necklace of the number, different creative ways teacher applied those. In the second administration of the piloting phase, there was one silent difference. In the group activities, the children were assigned roles. In the first group, in the first administration, children didn't given role. They were just simply following the teacher's instruction and taking part in the activities. But in the second administration, in the piloting study, children in the group activities were given specific roles like speaker or
Coach.
Or roles. I can't remember the names now. So the experimental groups are the same, and that's it. So we made our observations. We rated all the for each experimental groups. For the activities, we made our ratings, and we are in the analysis process. And but during our observation, we did see quite significant differences. Hopefully, the statistics will show them too.
I said, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Elena, that's all I have, but I am open to questions or anything that you would like me to share.
Well, I'm curious about the first impression that we can share, since we are here from Italy, from Turkey and Spain, and also Lithuania. What are the first impression after these? After the service, yes, the observation of the differences and what we have noticed while applying these activities.
I can, as I'm speaking, so I can go ahead and share mine, because I'm one of the experts making the observations. It was an interesting, we had 3 to 4 and 5 to 6 years old in Turkey. So I can't speak for the 1 to 2 years old. But for this age group, I've seen some really interesting differences. First of all, for the single children, for example, the children were quite like trying to, teacher wanted me to do this, and so I will have to, in the without roboting setting. But when the robot was there, the child was excited. So he was smiling, he was trying to experiment, explore. So that was for the single child. For the group children, doesn't matter 5 or 6, 3, 4 years, regardless of the group, children were much more involved when there was a robot. They're okay, they are much more excited, even without the robot experimental group compared to single one. But within the group activities, the group with the robot was much more excited. They were more speaking, there were more communication, interactions. And one thing was so interesting. They were like, I want to do it, I want to do it. But you did it twice. I haven't even touched it. All kinds of interactions. It was just beautiful. So it just created really a means for children to communicate, to express their feelings. Even sometimes, as I said, and even sometimes they try to defend somebody else. Like she's very initiative, active. She took part, but she observed a friend that hasn't even had the chance to touch it. And she was like, no, you did it twice. He hasn't done even one activity. So he was inviting him. It was just beautiful. That's all I can say. It's really encouraged interaction among children and created an excitement. It becomes more than a task that needs to be done.
And also the problem solving, I think, the creativity,
yeah.
Time to time.
Yeah. And also I've seen I don't know, you remember I made a presentation on the role of mistakes on children's learning. I observed a couple of occasions about that. Like a child was when they were given role, there was a difference between that too. When they were given role, there was less interaction because everybody has roles. Without the roles, they didn't part. But for the mistake part, when they made mistake, and depending on the teacher, there were a couple of teacher profiles. Depending on the teacher's attitude, in one case, for example, they were like, all started laughing and repeating that mistake, this time purposefully, because it was funny, the result was funny. So instead of being ashamed or like being criticizing each other, they were like, oh, try it again. And that was so funny. That's it, that's all I observe. And hopefully the numbers will show these results.
Well, it's amazing, actually. Yes, the reaction that they have. I see Marian. Some comments about the activities
from the Spanish experience.
Mm-hmm.
As for the single children, we do not have relevant input with or without robot. It's not big difference because they like the activity and they were also motivated by the smiling faces they have to choose at the end as self-assessment. So we didn't find too much interest in comparing with what we watched on the group activities. And regarding the group activities, in the first part, that were the children without roles and working naturally as they feel like a group, we found a difference between using a robot or not. And as Aisel said, they get excited by the robot and they smiled more. And I agree on all Aisel said, and it was the same here. And a big difference from the group without robot. Even in that group, they get also motivated by the end of the activity. That was the smiling face they had to take as a self-assessment, but the difference were big, I think. And also in the group with robot, that we have one of the members of the group have some difficulties or learning difficulties or disabled, or it was like this in all the groups here. We found a big difference by using roles or not. When on the group they have no roles, they tend to help him, but at the end, the child, him or herself, gets separated from the group because it's going around there or looking at other side or doing something. At the end, the difficulty or the challenge of the activity is too high, or he has not a role, and the others are so excited by the robot, for example, that it's not that they do not include, but they are excited by the activity and by the tool and by everything. They smile a lot. The interaction is also positive, but when we gave them a role, the change was amazing. The main role, that is the actor role, was for the child with difficulties, and that suppose for the other, they have to in some way support him. So we found they started to have multiplicity of interaction between them, but very effective bonds between peers, because they not only help the child with difficulty, but support in order to allow him to do it by himself or herself. So the child feels capable of doing this. He and she, even after the activity, when came back to the big group, he was excited and laughing and reporting to the teacher in the way he or she could, because some of our children didn't have language, was very little and with difficulties. They express a big emotion, and they feel enhanced with the learning objective. And even if we do not know if they did it, if they understood plenty, but we watched, we understood that the environment created in the group was very nice for everybody. It was like joy and trust that we were talking yesterday about the emotions. This love, everyone feels beloved by the group, or accepted, and also impulse to do his or her best, everyone in the group. So we found a very big difference between experimenting with roles and without roles. In terms of interactions, are also in terms of inclusive practice. It was much more inclusive, not only with a child with difficulties, but for the whole group having a role. And we also, okay, the activity is not long, so we saw that if we wanted to do it for longer time, we should exchange roles. It's not that all the time to give the main role to one child, or the coach role to always. So it's very important to exchange roles, but this is for the future, I think, or for when we have all the results and we want to impulse this on our schools. And this is our experience.
Thank you. It's, yes, inclusiveness is very important. how the robot can work for help the inclusion of
It's
the
not
children.
a magic band, but it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Very, very much.
Yeah. Yes. Jurgita or Inga, I don't know.
I think that Azel and Maren said everything. I agree with them, and the activities was very interesting and useful. And I talked with teachers. We are going to use this method in the future. And thank you for being in this project and in this experience. And now I see that a lot of our teachers here in this meeting, and we are waiting for second phases. We are going to start after 2 weeks. Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank Inga for helping us to develop the activity for the 1-2 years old, and Marian and her team for developing the wonderful activities for the 3, 4, and 5, 6 years old. They were very nice activities and very focused on what we wanted to, very good to see what we wanted to study in this experimental phase.
Yes, and me, so I thank to the teachers, because it was thanks to the teachers in the infant school that we had these activities, because they had the experience. I couldn't have, we as researchers couldn't have created them without somebody that is really working with children sincere. So I thank them, because I know some of them are here. Thank you.
It's really a big thank for them, absolutely. Summarizing a bit, our reflection, a general reflection about this research, this first part of the research. What we have already seen is how all the other partners agreed, how the group is improving all the results in general. The engagement of the child is not only the robot, it's not just the tool of the robot. Yes, it's a lot exciting, it's interesting, but it's something that has to be used in group, because the single child, as Marian said, the single child with the robot or without the robot, there's not a big difference. So that's the first thing that shows us the importance of working in group, of developing the activities, developing the skills of the children to be together, and leaving them free also to experiment roles. That's why in the first part, we didn't give the roles to see how they react naturally to these new challenges and this new activity that they have in front of them, sometimes more complicated than the one they are used to. As we said in the previous meetings, it's important for the teacher to leave them try and make mistakes, and not to guide them, because being free of experimenting, of trying and being with the others, they can help each other. So they can learn to be with the other, and they increase their abilities to be and communicate. So it's not only cognitive development that these activities are enhancing, but also the capacity to stay together, to develop the expression of the emotion, the educational emotion, the empathy for the others. It's very nice what Aisel said about the child that is not active part of the group, maybe because he or she is shy and want to stay a step back, but at the same time, she is part of the group, taking care for the ones that are not participating. So it's her turn, or is his turn, it's very important to notice that it's not just who is using the robot, but how all the group reacts to these activities. What we have seen in our during our test, during our experiment, is that the children are very quick to learn, to adapt to this new situation, and how really the group is creating is and how they how the robot help also the children with difficulties to be part of the group, as Marian said. At the beginning, it can be a bit complicated, but it's helping complicated for the child to understand how the robot works, but the group helps, the group support. When they understand that they are together, that they work together, this supporting attitude, it's not only for that moment, it works also in the rest of the daily activities in school. So it can be very important to make everyone being equal. So there are no difficulties, there are not disabilities. We can work together, we can support together, and being together a working group. I like what Marian said, an environment of joy and trust, because that's those are very important words. That will be the center, I think, the beating heart of the proximal learning environment, because this environment have to be emotional, and the emotion that there are has to be the joy and the trust in the group and in being with the others. Any questions from you about the activities? No, seems not. Definitely, you want to add? Yeah.
Elena.
Hi, Barbara.
Hi, everybody. Can I tell you and everybody the experience I did in the morning? And I hope this telling helps the support and our conversation. Can I tell you?
Yes.
Oh, today morning I was with Matteo, but Matteo is a 4 years old child with typical development. And we played with Doc, and I observed 3 things very important in my opinion. The first, the environment was very positive. Because he enjoyed, he smiled, he was very happy for all the time. The second, I never said when I was speaking with Matteo, I never said no, wait, pay attention, look at me, please. But I said often, oh, it's okay, oh, very good, good job, etc. The third thing, it was the most important. We did mathematics with Rock Clementoni, and I observed that Matteo was for a long time with a high level of attention in the action, in the activity. He used the working memory, and in 4 years old child is a very important to use the working memory, because he selects the activity with the robot. When we tried the arrows, left, right, go on, go back. He had a high level of attention, and he used the him fingers with counting and with calculation, because it means, in my opinion, that for one child is so important. In the group, these activities became more important. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to tell with you about this experience, because it's the focus of our conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Can
you.
I say something, Elena?
Obviously.
Okay, my point of view, when we've been thinking about this methodology, we've been thinking about what would you like for the children, and everything started from that. And the idea was, we like them happy not just to learn, not happy just to succeed, but happy to live in a learning environment. So we've been thinking, what is the main aspect that can enhance the level of happiness? Is staying with the other, joining with the other. But this is not enough. Even if children have wonderful creativity and they can invent by themselves any game, we have been choosing something attractive for them. Attractive for a lot of reasons that Mariam already explained very well, and also we. And so we tried to stick together the attractiveness of a very nice toy with the learning process, with what is important for a child to grow, children growth in harmony, to stay in a group, with an inclusive environment, and enhancing the level of communication for everyone, because the main frustration of being in a group is that when part of the group communicates and part of the group is excluded. So we've been thinking also about the roles, and we've been measuring every single step into this environment. And that's the result. The result was this project stage. So what we want, we would like to have you to cooperate with us in proposing and piloting and experimenting in your schools, and with all the support you can get from our friends here from different countries, and to see with your eyes, following our examples, following our activities and methodology that Ezra has been providing to us in a wonderful way. This part, this is very important. I didn't follow because I was busy, Elena. Did you explain the assessment methodology already?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
we introduced the activities and the assessing methodology. So
every country then, and if you're not into the 4 country teams, you can relate it to us, to me and Elena. Every country then will be experimenting those things and activities with the tools and the strategies that is possible to have. And for example, in our schools in Italy, we can provide to them the robots if they don't have it, and so on. But with anything, and just try to see and evaluate following our perspective. As the results were surprising and amazing for us, I think it will be for you, for all of you. That's why this training course is not because only it was foreseen in the project, and this is important because we are investing our time, and in order to propose, and not the best solution, but one possible experiment and solution and to see how it works with the children and their age. I don't know, ever been enough clear? Ilona, you have a wonderful cat, indeed. I wanted the cat instead of the robot, just to say something crazy.
I'm sorry, but I'm ill and I go to toilet and forgot to switch off.
No, it was wonderful to see the cat instead of you.
Thank you.
But anyway, just for laughing. I don't know, I think almost all of you are mothers and have children or so on, and you want to see your child's happy to go to school. Not only to school, but to live in harmony. And I think we are trying to mix up a lot of aspects in order to provide to them a proper and an innovative and interesting and harmonic learning environment. That's all what we tried. And if you will help us and joining us in this venture, which is a network, and experimenting and piloting with all the support and the time we are going to foresee together, you'll be invited to another meeting then. Then we will be, well, you can reinforce our observation, our methodology, and maybe it will be useful for other children to live in a better way their adventure into the school environment, and maybe home, why not, with friends. So if you have any opinion, because it seems like going into a museum.
Can I add one thing about this? I want to add one thing to what you are saying now, Stefano, because this experimental activity and the result of our work together, and also the work that you are going to do to help us, it will be part of a white book that will be addressed to the Ministry of Education, to the European Commission. So all this attention to the harmony of the development, Stefano was mentioning, will be addressed at the political level. So you can help us to give more strength to our words, to reach also a change in the way the schools are organized.
Thank you, Elena, but I want to add something more. Any one of you collaborating with your institution or person in the classroom, you will be mentioned into the white book. You will be mentioned as a part of the network and experimenting and piloting and confirming, or maybe slightly not confirming, maybe readjusting. But what is more important, this is a starting point. We will involve you and ask you maybe to think about one or two different strategies, to propose something new to us, to experiment and to share those strategies in our toolbook, which will be part of the white book indeed. So we started from the strategies, imagining them in a children's environment, and we will end with your strategies, your ideas. Maybe something will not work in Macedonia. It will work in Spain. Maybe something is working in Italy and it doesn't work in Turkey. Maybe, you know, because we are so beautiful of these projects that we are so different cultures. And Bojan is like an intruder, you know, is a virus into this team because he's our friend and he's ruling an association of 500 teachers in North Macedonia. And, but he's joining other projects with us and he knows why and what we are doing. Try to put little pieces in a bigger puzzle about education with all our projects and activities in our network. We are together in a world network called Nobody Less for Pro-Social Values. And therefore, you will help us a lot to fight, really to fight. And just to give an example, on 28th, 29th of May, in presence, there will be a conference in Verona with a representative, I hope, if they can come from all over the world, about the right of the school and a school for the rights, the title is. So try to imagine, because it's time that the school enhance and arise the voice to say which are the school rights. We cannot imagine in a society without a school, and not a school as instruction, a school as I found not only education, but just learning processes, a school of enhancing the society. So this is our aim, a little bit revolutionary, I admit, as usual. And who knows me knows that I'm not joking. And Ezra knows me since many times already. I can really, I don't know why, I'm a very spiritual person. I believe in God, indeed. And, or in inshallah, as someone say in other countries. And I think that we succeed when we believe in something, because it's the heart and the energy and the beautiness of our aims that makes things possible. So I have very good friends that support us very much. Elena first, but also Boyan and Jurgita and Mariam since many years, and Ezra and other more. So if you will join us, it will be, I think, a very, very nice adventure, an open sharing world, and where education is the only positive aim. We don't want to see negative things. There are so much negative to complain about. It's time to fight for positiveness, isn't it, Jurgita? Do you agree? Yeah, we are here in this short life just to do something for the others in a positive way. And that's something important. So we will continue. This is not the first step. And all of us are equal. When you will join us, you will be one of ours. There's no chief. No one is giving order. We just started. We have more experience maybe, but we share everything. So feel free to make any question. Feel free to ask anything, to see everything. We have nothing to hide away. There is no power. There's no money. There's no career, anything that in the society people are fighting for. There is only the will to be equal and share the better education. And I think, Mariam, you agree, don't you? The microphone is off, and so, okay.
I agree.
Yeah,
you talked so long that I get lost.
I want to share with you something. Me and Maria, we know each other since 16 years. We've met during a training course in Budapest in 2 different projects. And I moved out from a project meeting. I went to the other one because it was much better. And try to imagine, I was a member of a project team with my delegation. I moved out and I went into another project meeting in the other room where Mariam was. And it was quite, because it was very beautiful. I liked it very much. And she came together with Elena and our friends. We are involved, Jurgita, involved with the Siberian orphans, disabled in the East Siberia between Lake Baikal and Mongolia's border. And every year we have a trip there with our projects in the lost steppe of Siberia and so on. So it's like a way of starting to share ideas for this world. And then also welcoming the crew, we say, if you will join us, and do it with smile, please. Don't be worried about success or not success. We're here just to demonstrate something that we feel. And I know Ezra, she's a very powerful woman, very powerful, but a great mother. All our students love her so much because she distributes love.
So.
Yes, I know. And when we met in the first meeting in another project in Turkey, I was paralyzed in a bed in Moscow.
Yes.
I was totally paralyzed in Moscow in a bed with my hernias, and I couldn't move in a hotel, and I couldn't go. And Elena went to the first meeting with Ezra, and she was shocked. Oh, it's very difficult. She's such a strong woman. I'm afraid of her, and so on. Afraid of Ezra.
Oh. No.
Impossible, indeed. But it was our first project meeting, so try to imagine Ezra. So
Yes.
And since then, since many years, 6 years ago, I think our coalition.
We did the NetQ project. We met at the NetQ. Yeah.
Me and you, with NetQ project, and where I have been not offended, but they wanted to kill me, I think, the Irish partner, because
Yes,
during
I remember.
the conference in Padua, there were 100 persons in the main room where Galileo Galilei and Leonardo da Vinci, they've been there. So try to imagine a wonderful setting. And a lady from India, Swati Popat, wrote me, I want to participate, I pay everything, I come in. And we have met one of the greatest world pedagogists, one of the greatest. She was amazingly great there. She defined early education strategy in such a nice way. She has written a lot of books. I got some of them here. I can't show it to you, but if you're interested, I can send you the titles. And she wrote, here they are, I found them. Okay, one is early childhood education and development. Another one, quality in early education. Those are air books. They are really good. And early childhood education policy into practice. Those are masterpieces of education from India. And she's ruling 500 Gandhian schools, 500 in India, in the worst places you can imagine. In Bombay, in Calcutta, I went to visit some of them, and I said, wow, she's doing miracles there, and she's a real fighter. And the Irish delegation that had been set at the end of the conference, and they felt offended by that, because I put this incredible guest coming from India for us, for this conference. During the meeting, the final meeting, they offended me for 1 hour and a half without interruption. And I smiled and I said, thank you, I've learned something new. Next time I will not make the same mistakes, I said. And they were totally shocked. They still now hate me a lot for that, because I didn't react. What can I do? I've chosen something that I thought is marvelous. And you will have the chance to meet Swati, because Swati Popat, and she will analyze the result and she will contribute. And she's in our network, nobody less. And so if we are able to organize this conference in Verona, she will come once again. But I hope so. We are fighting against coronavirus to have it in presence conference. So it's a little about our stories. I know that maybe for some of you something boring and not interesting, but behind everything, there are human beings. There are persons that are spending their time because they're believing in the humanity and in a better future world. So if we have children in harmony, there will be person in harmony, and there will be real positive constructor of our future society. Isn't it, Ezra? Do you agree?
Yes. Yes, the children are our future.
Yeah, and it's not just a sentence. It's the future of the world. And that's all. I don't know if you want to add anything. I finished with my crazy speech, as usual.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, so thank to all of you. Thank you from those name and surname. I will never be able to read Gumtash surname. So I don't know, so many countries here involved. And I think it has been useful. We will write you, and with a little bit more time before, because there was a mistake. We thought that someone was sending the invitation before, and I realized today that nobody did it. So we sent it in a rushing time, the invitation for this meeting. I'm sorry, we are human and we are overwhelmed by online meeting and training courses. We are dying in internet. We say that like you. And we are just want to meet again. We are waiting for next meeting. And there will be, so this organized meeting, we will see, maybe you will be contacted by national level, by your national coordinator, but those from other countries, Boyan, you can relate with your team on us. and so on. And if you don't have you are orphan of a country in the project, please just write to me, and it's okay. poloeuropa@gmail.com, and you'll be supported for the piloting and the networking. And then we will see how to, there will be a nice, wonderful, special multiplier event, I mean, a conference with all the results in Turkey, maybe in presence, maybe online. If it's in presence, we are coming because we've been able to we have been able to go to Turkey last week in Osmaniye.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
and it was wonderful journey and wonderful hospitality. Remember, if I can give a suggestion, don't listen to what TV says about Turkey. There's such a discreditation campaign against Turkey. It's a country where we felt like home, isn't it, Elena? And we never felt discrimination against women like they are proposing on mass media nowadays. Not at all. Ezra.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Don't
amazing.
believe the mass media.
No, I
Really,
agree
trust
totally.
us.
Turkey was a big surprise, a lovely surprise to know the country. I agree totally.
But
Yes,
we just
don't
came.
believe the news and the newspaper and the TV as well. Just come and see.
No,
If I
trust
can-
us.
I agree as well.
I can say I have been swimming for 17 years, and we always go in Istanbul, in Kınalıada, in Fenerbahçe. It was amazing. Nothing
Yes.
is like they say on the media. Always we feel like home. It was
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
That is the most beautiful thing in my childhood. Kınalıada, it was amazing.
Yeah, and they always talk about Turkey as a country discriminating women. I didn't see any kind of discrimination,
No,
indeed.
no.
And moreover, we felt really welcome like in no other place. And we have contact with almost all the Turkish town. I hope you will be able to organize it in presence. And
Yes.
count on us.
Yes. We will organize a conference
We will come.
face to face.
We have to. So I hope this is not a shock like coming in a circus, but you will see something very, very interesting coming out from this team, because we are always proposing something new and interesting for people, for teachers, pedagogists, persons. Anyone can participate, and everything will be free always, and everything will be accessible. We believe in sharing the knowledge. So thank you very much. I hope you will not kill me afterwards.
Can I add two things?
Okay.
In the chat, you can find the link to register your presence as usual. Just click on add an X with your name, near your name, sorry, and the link to joining our network, the Pearl network, so that we are going to create.
Well, have a look at the moment of the commitment, what you're doing, and imagine that it's flexible. It's something that we have to write it as it is, but if you're not able to fulfill 100% of it, nobody will complain and will tell you anything. And well, and next time we will see, we will organize this national or still one international for only for those interested in joining the network and piloting and proposing some activities. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much to all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you to the
See
teachers.
you next time,
Thank you.
Boyan.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
Thank you.